Hi, this is Matt Bianca, and welcome to the Sutra Pills podcast. This is the place to listen to some teachings from original Buddhist sutras. A sutra a day keeps the dukkha away. Today's sutra is called Potaliya Sutra or Potaliya. Potaliya is just a common name for women and is referred as a Potaliya the householder. So in this sutra discussing sensual indulgence through emblematic stories, Gautama asks his disciples the following questions. Suppose a dog, overwhelmed by weakness and hunger, were to stumble upon a slaughterhouse. There, a butcher's apprentice tossed a chain of bones, scraped it clean of flesh, smeared with blood. Do you think this dog, gnawing on that bare chain of bones, could satisfy its weakness and hunger? Now, imagine a vulture grabbing a piece of flesh and taking off, followed by other vultures, pecking at it with their beaks and tearing at it with their claws. Do you think that if the first vulture does not quickly drop that piece of flesh, it will face death or excruciating pain? Picture a man walking against the wind, carrying a burning grass torch. Do you think that if he does not promptly discard the torch, it will burn his hand, arm, or some other part of his body, resulting in either death or agonizing pain? So, in a similar way, a disciple of the Noble Ones contemplates this. I liken sensuality to a chain of bones, fraught with much stress, despair, and substantial drawbacks. With the right discernment, recognizing these realities, the disciple avoids the equanimity stemming from multiplicity and develops the equanimity arising from singleness. This is where attachment to the temptation of the world vanishes without a trace. Now, suppose a man, in a dream, sees enchanting parks, forests, landscapes, and lakes, but upon awakening finds nothing. Similarly, a disciple of the Noble Ones views sensuality as a dream filled with a great stress, despair, and considerable drawbacks. With the right discernment, they shun the equanimity born of multiplicity and cultivate the equanimity born of singleness. This is where attachment to the enticements of the world dissolves without a trace. Imagine a man who borrows fine jewels and ornaments, struts into the marketplace surrounded by these borrowed riches, and garner admiration from people who think, how wealthy this man is! This is how the affluent enjoy their possession. Yet the rightful owners, upon seeing him, swiftly reclaim what belongs to them. Do you think the man has a legitimate reason to be upset? And the disciple answered, no, master, the owners are rightfully reclaiming their property. So Gautama elaborates on several examples of animal and human behavior, all leading to the same conclusion: reliance on singleness, where the attachment to the worldly enticements disappears without a trace. This means we have realized the black and white of Dharma, where there is either right view or wrong view. Further interpretation nuances will limit our perspective, as clinging remains an issue in our human experience. When the disciple of the Noble Ones attains the purity of equanimity and mindfulness, in Gautama's word, they enter and remain in undistracted awareness, having directly understood and realized these truths in the present moment. It's important to highlight that sexual pleasure and sensual pleasure is indeed included in sensual pleasures. According to Buddhist teachings, we can enjoy all kinds of pleasure, but only in the present moment, without becoming attached to them. This is where mindfulness plays a crucial role. By being mindful of our current actions, we can reduce our insatiable desires and cravings. Renunciation is not necessary out of fear. Instead, we must apply concentration and mindfulness to every aspect of our lives. Pleasures are constantly around us, and avoiding them indicates an inability to manage them. We acknowledge and observe them without attachment. So it provides, of course, teachings on the topic of sensual indulgence and attachment. In this sutra, as you see, Gautama asks his disciple a series of questions and present various analogies to help them understand the nature of sensuality and the drawbacks of attachment to it. The primary theme of this sutta is to emphasize the importance of developing equanimity and mindfulness to overcome attachment to sensual pleasure and worldly enticement. And I create like a summary for you to understand better this sutra. The first point, this sutta is analogies. So Gautama used several vivid analogies to illustrate the unsatisfactory nature of sensual pleasure and attachment. These analogies include a dog gnawing on a bare chain of bones, vulture fighting over a piece of flesh, and a man carrying burning grass torch against the wind. In each case, attachment leads to suffering and unsatisfactoriness. Second point is cultivating equanimity. The sutra emphasizes the importance of cultivating equanimity arising from singleness, and is opposed to equanimity stemming from multiplicity. This means that by understanding the drawbacks of sensuality, one can avoid attachment to worldly temptation and develop a sense of inner peace. Third point is viewing sensuality as a dream. Gautama encourages disciples to view sensuality as a dream filled with stress, despair, and drawbacks. Just as a dream has no lasting reality, the allure of sensual pleasure is fleeting and ultimately unsatisfying. A fourth point, is the example of borrowed riches. The sutra also includes an example of a man who borrows fine jewels and ornament, struts into the marketplace, and garners admiration. However, when the rightful owners reclaim their possession, the man has no legitimate reason to be upset. This example illustrates the impermanence of worldly possession and the futility of attachment to them. And a fifth point, we have the role of mindfulness. The sutra underscores the importance of mindfulness in dealing with sensual pleasures. It suggests that one can enjoy pleasures in the present moment without becoming attached to them. Mindfulness allows individuals to reduce insatiable desires and cravings, ultimately leading to a more balanced and contented life. A sixth point, renunciation and managing pleasures. The sutra does not advocate complete renunciation of pleasures out of fear, but rather encourages the application of concentration and mindfulness in everyday life. It suggests that we can acknowledge and observe pleasures without becoming excessively attached to them. And a last point touching the sutra is purity of equanimity and mindfulness. When a disciple of the noble ones attains purity of equanimity and mindfulness, they can enter a state of undistracted awareness and directly understand the truths presented in the sutra. This has been the Sutra Pills podcast, and I am Matt Bianca. Thank you to be here and listen to me. Comments are really appreciated. Whatever you want to tell me, just make a comment, even a bad one. Of course, the most important, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be free from suffering. Bye for now.